family. This morning we are in for a treat because my guest is not only a powerhouse, but she is the blueprint for what it looks like to walk in your authority without apology. A licensed real estate broker, owner of Sage Council Realty, a Northwest Florida real estate developer and acquisition specialist, and a certified realtor and general contractor. She is also the managing partner of King's Construction.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say this clearly, Dr. King is a woman who does not just build houses. She builds infrastructure, she builds communities, and she builds legacy. But what makes her presence even more powerful is her story. Because before the titles and the awards, she served in spaces that require grit, resilience, law enforcement, education, federal service, and she took every hard-earned lesson from those rooms and turned it into strategy, leadership, and ownership. And now, she shows up as what I call the rare kind of leader, a woman who can lead with excellence and lead with heart. So, without any further ado, I am introducing Dr. Danielle King.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here, and that was a really good introduction. I was like, who is she talking about? No.
Yes. Did I miss anything? I know I missed a few things because you got your hands in some pot.
Yep, that's it. That's the core of it. That's the core of it.
Okay. All right. Well, how are you doing today?
I am doing well. It's cold outside, which is not my favorite, but other than that, I'm blessed.
Okay.
Excited.
Highly flavored. So, I kind of want to jump right in. I have a few questions. When did you, well, first let's start here. When people hear all these titles, you know, there's so much that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you at your core?
At my core, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a believer, and I didn't know it at first, but I guess I like to serve because all of those positions were service positions. You know what I mean? Being the police officer, working with Fleet and Family Support Center, working on base, or being a fitness instructor, or all of those things, even now, is real estate, but having the brokerage and having the young ladies who have their license hung, I find myself, being a leader or telling them, hey, why don't we do this? Or just watching people grow excites me. So I guess I'm a server at heart.
Mm-hmm. I have seen her doing that. She all the things that she's saying, she absolutely does. And even with like Bible study and all of that, she's definitely faith driven. So I just want to put that out there too. When did you first realize I'm not asking permission anymore?
It takes a minute. Of course, when you're young, you don't ask for permission. You're gung-ho, you just do it. But deep down inside, you have to also realize that why are you doing it? So when I was young, maybe it was to prove, not just to others, but also to myself. But now it's just like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I can do it, and I can do anything that I want to do. And, there's nothing that could stop you. And it took me a minute to realize that. Before, everything was a check in the box. Okay, let me hurry up. Let me succeed. Let me show people that it's not about where I came from. It's about where I'm going. So younger, it was about proving. Mm-hmm. Now it's just about being and doing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, boom, this is what you get. Here I am.
Yes. And so I do kind of want to talk about that because you touched on it a little bit about, coming from where you came from. Can we dive into that a little bit more? Like, where did you come from? How was it for you growing up, your past and everything like that?
So I'm originally from South Florida, Riviera Beach, Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach, and very, very humble beginnings. My grandmother raised me. My parents were addicts until my mom until I was about maybe 14. My dad, I met my dad at 14. I mean, we all have great relationships now, but those core years were formative via my grandma, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's a good thing, and I don't want to say a bad thing, but it's who made me who I am. So, of course, we talked about, hey, I was young and I was like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm proving. And maybe that the core of that was, okay, maybe I felt abandoned, by parents. or not being a part of. So it was like, okay, I'm gonna show you, right? But I don't always say, okay, poor me because of that. It's like, okay, that's what made me so strong. We don't always want to be strong, and who wants things to be tough? But then I look at people who have not had any toughness or had to go through anything, and I take this over that any day. So,
and would you say, did any of that kind of influence you into entrepreneurship? Or did you know that you was going to be an entrepreneur?
I don't know for sure if I was going to be an entrepreneur, because growing up, I did not see entrepreneurs as in my family, or black women, or, you know what I mean? You might go to the corner store and you know the person who owned the store is an entrepreneur. But what was really cool, I remember a black older couple that went to my church, and the wife did hair. So a lot of the entrepreneurs that we saw were hustlers as far as they did hair, you know, black women, and then they owned a hair store. So that was cool from my era to see black people owning a hair store prior to the people who own the hair stores now. And nothing wrong with that, but that was so cool. As a matter of fact,
You don't see that.
no, you don't see it. She pierced my second hole, and her name was Miss Cummins. She did hair. They had a hair salon, and then up the avenue was the hair salon. Up the other street was the hair store. Yeah, that was cool. So I saw that, but it did not lead me to say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur when I grow up. But what I did know was that I was not going to be desolate. Here's a story that I remember a little bit. I had an older cousin who was way older than me, but she didn't have any kids, but she really took to me, and she would visit a lot. And she would pour into me because, you know, she had a good job. She worked in insurance. This is back in the 80s, right? And I remember her and I riding. She had visited from Orlando. We were in West Riviera Beach, and it was like a food stamp office, right? And she was like, Danny, people call me Danny. She's like, Danny, that's the food stamp office right there. And I was like, well, why are you telling me? Because what are we, you know? And she tells me that story till this day. And I had to be like, maybe 6, maybe 7, like, hey, I'm not gonna, nothing against people who need them and who use them, you know, but I remember her saying that, and it was just like, as a matter of fact, you know, it was no proclamation. It was just like, yeah, that's cool and all for them, but I'll be fine. Yeah.
What does walking in authority look like in real life and not just social media?
It's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in leadership. Personalities when you're leading, and getting people to, I call it verbal judo. Because when you're a true leader, you don't have to bully, you know, you don't have to threaten. It's just an influence. You're influencing people to get a certain thing done, or job done, or a purchase, or whatever it is. So in real life, it's a lot that goes on by being able to work and connect with people to get them to a goal. And knowing who you are. And I'm not saying don't be afraid, but ask the questions, say the things, get it all out of the way, and not be afraid to make a mistake. Sometimes if we are leaders, or we want to be right, or we're trying to build that rapport with our community, we seldom take that step out of our comfort zone, because we might fail in our heads, and then boom, everybody knows that you fail. Right. So it's so much easier to stick to the easy things, so you always look like the subject matter expert, right? But you're not growing. So you really have to write it out sometimes, or say it out loud. Like, I'm like, okay, well, if this happened, so what? Literally, so what? And you learn from it. I also used to move in survival mode, right? Where it was, okay, don't take a rest, don't take a break, because you're losing momentum. But I switched my mindset that no, you're not losing momentum. You're technically just taking a pause of where you left off because you were growing and learning along the way. You know what I mean? So it's not like you lost everything and you got to start up. It's just that, let me relax, let me recharge, let me reevaluate, pivot if I need to. And now I can take all of that experience, all of that time, all of that stuff and redirect it into where it needs to go.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at first I used to be like, you can't take a break.
Yeah.
At that point, I was operating in survival mode and not living up to what I could do and be because I was tired.
Yeah.
Stressed, burnt out, forcing myself in places that did not fit or I did not, vice versa, whatever. So it's important to take a break or just take a rest or take time to reevaluate and also allow feedback and not become aggressive when somebody tried to give you a little feedback or it's not going your way or it's not personal.
Yeah.
That's what I think we all take every single little thing personal when it's not. You crazy, not me. But, yeah, no. But yeah, I'm like, okay, it ain't me. She not just crazy with me. This sister is or brother or whoever is crazy with everybody. So boom, you know what I mean? But no, we think, she's directing that right at me.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people are battling with being in survival mode. So what were some of the things that, one, help you be self-aware to realize that you are operating from that space, and then two, to kind of get you and really pull you out of that space so that you could be, operating from a different place?
It's almost like, when you never quite heal from it all the way.
Right.
You always slip back into it. So it's almost like being in recovery. You know how when somebody, they don't drink anymore, but something could trigger them to either take a drink or want to take a drink. That's how it is with survival mode or trauma or whatever. Like I said, it was humble beginnings and I did not have a lot. We did not have a lot. So now I see myself sometimes making decisions based on that, right? And then I'll take a step back. My husband is really good at stop being cheap. You know what I mean? So he has helped me quite a bit to be like, okay, hey, I'm not going to try to do 30 things because I can only do 30 things down here because when you are talented, you are a hustler, you want to do all the things.
Yeah.
And you think that, okay, I'm going to have my hand in 20 pots at once. I'm a hustler, right? Think about it. You're like,
burn right on out.
You're burnt out and you cannot, I don't care how amazing or talented you are, you cannot work at optimum level at 20 different things. Something has to give, always. So now that I know that, I'm not going to try to paint this whole place, even though it's going to save me $3,000, right?
Right.
The old me would be like, I'm going to paint it, I'm going to do the floors, and I'm going to sell enough houses, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to do this. And now it takes 6 years to do all of that. You have nothing completed, right? Or when I hear people say, you should have multiple streams of income. That is so freaking amazing. Yes, you should, but you cannot have 6 great multiple streams of income all initiated at the same time. You know what I mean? So if you take 5 things and you make $20 from each, you have $100. But I've seen people who dive all in into 1 or 2 things and make $100 a piece. You cannot do it. Yeah. You cannot do it. But that's what survival mode would tell you. That's what social media will tell you. Hustle culture. And it's not even, it's like, okay, if you get good at selling houses, you know what? Somebody will come on your timeline and say, you should teach 2 courses of how you sold the houses. Now you're teaching 2 or 3 courses. Of course, and I've done that before where I taught courses, but when I taught courses, my ability to close houses fell because I'm putting more emphasis on that. And where energy goes, hustle flows, or whatever they say. And then when I stop, so you have to make that choice.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I did. I was like, okay, yes, I could do hair and do nails and sell houses, but am I? I cannot do hair or nails, but I'm just using that. I'm not that artistic at all, but we think we could do all the things.
It's true.
So when I step back and I'm like, but if I spent all of that time getting really good
at this one thing,
I could be, I could be a bad at it. As you know, not bad for y'all, but bad as in 1980s and 90s. Yep. I could speak with confidence because the time I was taking to do the hair, I could listen to a book or read a book. Or the time I was taking to learn how to do the nails or learn how to do the classes, to teach, I could just focus on that, giving me the confidence to step into any place I want to and be bad and walk with authority because I've done the time, I've learned the things, I've talked to enough people, so now the conversation is fluid. That's stepping into authority. You know what you're talking about, and when you don't know, you're so confident that you could say, let me go check that out for you. I know somebody, I got a guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Stepping into your authority, I would say obviously is easier said than done, and sometimes there's not always spaces built to cultivate that for us. So what were some moments that you knew you were being maybe evaluated unfairly, but you were still able to like stay composed and still walk in that authority?
I don't know if that's a gift, but that's my strong suit.
Really?
Oh yeah, because I'm not gonna say I don't care, but I know I have the ability to build my own space. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be honest, this whole area, this whole place, this whole country is not inviting. And I'm not mad at it. I could be angry, I could be take up all of that energy and be vindictive and resentful, but I can't make millions when I'm that way. So I'm gonna literally carve out my space. And that's just been my thing. Yes. And I don't have to be loud. I don't have to be obnoxious. I don't have to be super sexy. You know what I mean? It's just that, hey, I'm gonna come right in and I'm gonna be me. And eventually, if they not happy I'm here and being me, they will be. And that's what I've seen. If you're genuine, you're sincere, you know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's gonna be one or two people, the haters, but I've seen haters turn into fans real quick. Like, Danielle, wait a minute, you was just...
Wasn't you the one?
Yeah, or you'll see it out talking meetings and they like, whole face. In their mind probably, who is that? Don't even pay no mind. I'd be like, let me stop looking at Gertrude. Let me look over here. Well, let me stop looking at Tim. I'm gonna look over here, and that's who I'm gonna gravitate to. And the next thing I know, Gertrude, let's have lunch. Yeah, let's. I can't give you no attention. It's like a kid. Yeah, I know you got kids, and sometimes they'll even take negative attention for attention. They don't care what it is. I ain't giving you nothing. Right. Look right past you.
Love it.
Yep.
Love to hear that. How do you stay grounded when you know the room is trying to reduce you?
Same thing. We call it getting your goat. I'm not gonna let nobody get my goat. Give me my. You can't have my goat. You cannot. You are not. Maybe you are not my ministry. I'm not your person, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with everybody not liking me or wanting to work with me. And let me tell you how that affects your business tremendously. Okay, so again, being in this area, being in this market, it's not welcoming. And I've never heard anybody say, get the heck on. I mean, I have, but not so much, right? But nobody's ever said, let's hold hands, or it's not a lot of welcoming. There's some, I'm not going to say, because there are some people who have been really nice and really supportive, but there are few here, right? But being able to feel comfortable, being able to still do what you need to do. Like, for example, here, I've had a discussion with really good agents and really good people and really good confident people about putting their picture on their signs for real estate. right? Or on their cards.
Yeah.
With the thought of, hey, if I don't put it on there, I'll get more business. Right? Or being afraid to put their picture just because they were a woman or a black person or a black woman, right? And I've done that in the past, not with real estate, but with other companies. Like, okay, I'm just gonna put my logo. And I've grown into, no, I'm gonna put my picture first, and I might put the logo because I wanna work with who wanna work with me. I don't want to get there and surprise nobody because they gonna be mad and I ain't gonna be mad, but it's gonna, so I rather for them to expect what they get, what they expect. I don't try to hide my voice, my accent, my dialect, my picture, none of that. But that take growth, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm not gonna reduce, whatever I feel like wearing now, like I said, I'm not trying to show you cleavage. If you see it, you see it, but that ain't my intention. Everything, you know what I mean? It's just, hey, this is who I am and what I am. If I feel like dressing up that day, I'm gonna be dressed up that day. No, I'm not coming in with slides on, and my bonnet, but I'm gonna do what's comfortable so that I can give the best service because that's what's important first. Image is a lot, and it took me a long time to also learn that. I remember my chief saying, image is everything. Sadly, it is a lot. So I'm not saying, hey, looks don't matter, but you just gotta do what's comfortable for you, and I think your avatar will come.
You said something that kind of leads me into this next topic. It's a little bit nuanced. Code switching. When is code switching strategic?
Okay, so when you're at home, right? And let me tell you this, I don't know how this is gonna come across, but if you come across a black professional, they've been through some things, right? I always tell people, and I've taught classes or spoken to groups about this. When we lived in Cali, I lived in Solana Beach, and I went to a Presbyterian church because it was convenient. It was right there.
I was gonna say, you getting out 1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour, and it was right up the street.
I went to a Presbyterian.
Yep. And it might have been 2 blacks, me and one other. But I was there for the Lord, okay? So who can, whatever.
Exactly.
But then what happened was George Floyd thing, boom, and then COVID, and then, so that mixture, and it was in Cali, really changed the dynamic of everything, right? And that social unrest, that uneasiness. So I took a step back because I was like, oh, I was uncomfortable. Nobody said anything, did anything. And one particular lady was just so locked in that she reached out. And I say that because she was like, I know you're tired. It's been 400 years. She was older. So it was, it could have been detrimental for her to meet with me during COVID. But we walked the beach and she just listened to me vent. That church started a what would Jesus do about social unrest, which was cool because they were all older white men and women with a lot of money. But a lot of them wanted to know. So they had me speak. And I would tell them, hey, if you come across a black person, and I can't speak for everybody, but I'm going to go ahead and say 75 to 80%. When you build or you measure for flooring, you measure, but you get 10% of waste. So let's say I said this building was 200 by 100. So that means it's 2,000. I'm gonna get 2,010 square foot of flooring because 10% is gonna be trash. But I don't want that to stop me from laying the flooring down. Right. So I got that extra. That's how I see being black in America. If you're gonna be successful, know that 10% of the time, somebody gonna try you about your abilities due to your race or your sex or your class system. So you have to already be prepared for that, so it does not knock you off your rocker. Right. For example, you're going to be coming out the store. Somebody going to push their car button to make sure it's locked. As soon as they look you dead in your face. Are you going to let that mess up your day? No, you can't, right? Or somebody gonna grab their purse a little bit, or you gonna be in the store and somebody gonna watch you a little extra. Almost every day of your life. Now, if you have a kid and you don't prepare them for that, because some people are like, why are you bringing up race? Because if we stop bringing it up, the kids won't grow up with it. If you have a black child and you don't prepare them for the police, and I used to be a police, okay? For somebody who gonna think they stealing, for somebody who not gonna give them a job just because, for somebody who gonna lock their door, you haven't prepared them. And that's gonna be a big surprise when they step into the world, and you've done them a disservice. How I relate that to that same group that I speak to or used to speak to is, if you have a daughter and you don't tell her to watch her drink, you've done her a disservice.
My grandma started doing that when I was 5.
Yes.
I was like, I'm 5. Don't leave your drink anywhere. So,
you see what I mean? Are you preparing her to want to be raped or sexually assaulted? No.
Just preparing her for real life.
Yes. Or
I feel like that helped me make better cognitive decisions. Like, she told me so young, I already knew in the back that wasn't even something that even.
So it didn't turn you into a wannabe sexually assaulted victim. Like, if we're preparing our kids to be able to code switch, because I know that was your original question. So it's all, and I brought up all of that because it's a constant battle in the back of our minds. Right. It's constant. I've seen people have what they call nervous breakdowns because of that additional environmental stress.
Yes. Because it's like, you're from, I know where you're from.
Yes.
I'm from Broward. And so things are a little bit different when you step into places like I was living in California, and I realized that people have a certain image of, down south Floridians because they hear the stories, Florida man, Florida woman. And so, you try not to perpetuate those, what would you call them?
Preconception notions.
Yes, you try not to perpetuate that, but then obviously you've been in that environment and things. So it's just like, learning when it could be harmful, like when you're having to shrink your identity and who you are to kind of fit in, and when is it like, a strategic thing, like, okay, speaking and enunciating a little bit better. So I don't know.
I think it's important to have both environments. I don't think it's healthy for you to not be who you really are forever. So you have to have an environment where you are able to let down your hair. I don't have any hair let down, but I have to have an environment where I can take my bra off and my earrings off. You know what I mean? Far in between, yeah. So whether it be a group of friends or whether it be at home or, and everybody code switch to a certain degree. Even white people code switch to a certain degree. Some things that they would say at home, or the way they would say them at home, they're not saying them in the workplace or space or when they want your business. You know what I mean? So I think we all do it. Maybe we could call it our work voice. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
Our business voice.
I think you're onto something. So this next part is going to be ownership, wealth, and building legacy. What made you go from career success to ownership?
I've always wanted, as I got older, to realize that corporate was not my cup of tea. And not because I couldn't, but because when I see something that I don't like or that I don't fancy, I always want to be the change. And it is not my business to be the change in your business.
And they're going to make your life harder.
Yes.
To be the change.
Yeah, in their business, how they see fit or how they want it. So I'm always an advocate for, okay, if you don't like it, change it, but change it over there where it is yours. Right. So a lot of people don't realize they'll go on somebody's job and tell them how they should run their place of business. No, mind your own business.
Literally.
Yeah, or get in line. Now, if it's wrong, it's wrong. And there are some things that do need to be whistleblowed, I guess, if you want to help other people. But that's just still so crazy to me to come into my place of business where I made the sacrifices and want to change everything because in your head, that's what should be done.
Right.
Because we all have different morals. We all have different values. We always take things at different face values. So this might be working for me and hundreds of others. And here you come. That's not technically your place, even if you feel like it's wrong.
Right.
So you don't have to stay there.
Right.
So I do get it when it's a huge, huge, huge company or corporation, and it's going to affect thousands of people in that area, which the greater good is always the best. But again, go change it, come back. So I've always known that, okay, I want to, when I got older, to have my own business, to have, even when I was at a different brokerage, at a big box brokerage, I marketed that brokerage, but not as much as I marketed myself because I knew I was going to break off and start my own brokerage, a place I could feel comfortable or that I did feel welcome and work with clients who felt comfortable with me. So that was the big thing, is I want to do my own thing. I want to do it right. This is how I think it should be done. And it's not my place to do it in their business that they've already curated.
Okay. What does legacy look like through property development and acquisition?
So again, being a person of color and going through redlining and all of that stuff, it's always been a goal of mine to own property.
What's redline? Can you?
So even when fair housing decided that it wasn't fair to allow people of color, different races, sexes, to be pushed out of certain housing, it was still a way to push them out. So let's say everywhere here was Catholic, and you wanted to move into a certain area. A realtor might say, well, that's a Catholic area, you shouldn't come in that area. Or they would do things like the infrastructure would be different from your loan, for your loan, or the pricing would be different. So it's almost like a red line was placed around certain areas to alleviate other people from coming in.
And how long has that been going on for?
Oh, for years. Now it's not, you're not supposed to even do that. If you wanted to see a house, no matter what area it was in, if you had a pre-approval, I'm supposed to show you that house. Now I can see, it's always two sides to every story, right? I can see as an agent, let's say you're an agent and you know that if Josephine moved into this neighborhood, just because the property value is going to drop, right? Would you show her that house if you've been the agent that's been farming that neighborhood and now you've gotten a big rapport with 10 of those sellers, possible sellers or buyers, and you know that the property value is $500,000 per house. And here comes Josephine, for whatever reason, whether it be her religion or sex or race or sexual orientation, and she bought that house, now all the properties are going to drop by $100,000.
Wow, that happens?
It used to. I don't know if it happens still, but I'm sure it happens sometimes now, right? Or now everybody in that neighborhood is going to want to move, but now it's not as much as a desirable area. What would you do as an agent? So I think a lot of things aren't purposely done. I think they are financially done. Because even if you love Josephine for what she was, would you show her that house if you knew it was gonna, in your head, mess up your money and the area you've been farming in?
Right.
I think that's what a lot of people do. They go along with things because it's lucrative or not. You know what I mean? Like, even if you think about...
That's the reason, for a lot of things.
It's like, okay, I like her. She wants to see that, but I don't want her to mess up the area that I'm farming. Not saying it's right, but... Yeah.
But it makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense, like, in a right way.
Yeah.
But
I can see that.
I understand what you're saying.
I try to look at things from both ends of the spectrum. Or would you tell her that? Or if you had a seller and she didn't want to sell to Josephine, would you tell that seller, I'm going to report you to fair housing because you don't want to sell to Josephine? Because in your mind, that's how you're going to feed your family that month. Yeah. That seller.
Well, I do see though that the bottom line should be, if that pre-approval, then you're going to sell it because the pre-approval is there.
Yeah.
And so I guess I can understand the more modernized, like, you know, getting rid of some of that
stigma.
Yeah, that old
and eliminating it. It just takes time. And if we're all educated on it and we're all doing it, then saying those things or thinking that way will be the black sheep versus the other way around.
How do women overperform just to be respected?
So I read a book called Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg. It's a really good book, and I read it like 2 times, listened to it 2 times, and it discusses the psychological thought of how women as a whole, the majority, they will do the act, overperform, and then ask for the raise. Meanwhile, men don't know what to do, don't know how to do it, but their ego will tell them to go in there, put in the application, and then ask for the raise first.
Immediately.
Yeah, like boom.
Immediately. You know what? I showed up today, raise.
Yeah, boom. Meanwhile, we trying to prove ourselves, and then still won't get the raise. Still won't, because now we've changed the energy. That's how I see it. As now you've shown your boss that you'll do whatever they say do, and you don't have to be compensated. You know what I mean? So that's how I see everything now. As like, if you don't have the energy, not like energy as in you don't feel good, but if you don't believe in yourself enough, somebody else is not going to over believe in you. Now your mama, maybe, because I'm going to say maybe because I love my mama to death, but anytime, not now, but at first, if I was trying to do something difficult, she will be at the end of that tunnel with a gust of wind blowing out. We should have named her Wendy. Tell my grandma in heaven she should have named her daughter Wendy, because soon as you try to do something semi-dangerous, hard, and I get it, it's out of love and trying to save your feelings, but that's not helping me in the grand scheme of life, right? But so I can't even say your mama, but every now and then, maybe a spouse or somebody, grandma might over believe in you more than you believe in you. But 99.986% of the world is not gonna over believe in you than you believe in you. So everybody's just mimicking what you think of yourself. So if you don't go in there, you've heard me say this before, like Trump and Kanye West, if you don't go in the building like that, don't go in the building.
Okay. How do you lead with compassion without people confusing kindness for weakness?
Firmness, having grace, knowing where they're coming from, or trying to gather a better understanding. And somebody gonna always take your kindness for a weakness. And that's not on you, that's on them. Because if you are a leader and you care about the bigger picture, they won't get too far. So like what I try to do, or what I'm trying to do, especially in a couple of organizations where I've taken a leadership role in, is I'm leading by doing, right? And so a lot of times you could tell somebody something to you blue in the face, but if they see that the charge is going to move on anyway, they could either come on board and experience it and gather from it and learn and grow, or they could stand on the sidelines and not learn and grow, you know? So, and I'm definitely in a different space where I'm not saying now, what can this organization do for me? I'm seeing that when I do more for the organization, whatever it is, that you get what you need. So it is what you put in. It sounds like magic. It sounds like a cliche, but you get what you put in. But if you're always asking, what can it do for me? It won't do anything for you. You know what I mean? Even with the chamber, I've gotten business and didn't even realize somebody was watching to give me business. You know what I mean? So, or just by showing up, I don't have to be on the stage, but just by showing up, supporting other people, putting good information out there, people will jump to be under your leadership. And you don't even know it. You don't even realize it, that people are like, oh, I see the way she moving. I see what she doing. I see what she's saying. I don't ever try to like say, put me in front, I'm the leader. But because I lead and I like leading and I like serving, I've had other people raise me up or put me there, and I'm unbeknownst to me, and I'm like, oh, what? You know what I mean?
That's real servant leadership.
Yeah.
Not just the stuff people be putting on the application make it sound good.
No.
Real in the field.
Because I don't even like applications. I don't even like questionnaires. It's funny because I'm doing the LDP, and it's a leadership development program, right? Mm-hmm. And they had this long questionnaire, and I even put on the questionnaire. I hate these questionnaires. And it's funny because then we went to bingo for the icebreaker, and they had stuff from everybody's questionnaire. And why did they pick that one from mine? In the midst of it, why did I have like 5 people come up to me and was like, this one yours, ain't it? That did not even really know me, right? I could tell you hate this question. I don't like answering questions about me, especially on applications. I feel like people get to get to know me.
Right.
That's a privilege because I'm who I say I am, right? So anyway, that's funny.
Well, we got one more rapid fire. This is a rapid fire segment right before we close out. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. First thing that comes to mind.
Okay. Authority
means?
Being the boss, in charge, influencing.
Okay. A leader should never
put themselves first before the mission.
Okay. One boundary that changed everything for me was?
Saying no.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. A myth about leadership is?
It's easy.
Mm-hmm. If you're the only one like you in the room, remember.
You're more than enough.
Okay, you killed that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Dr. King. She is absolutely amazing. She's the bee's knees. And do you have anything to tell the viewers where they can find you? Something you want them to know?
You can find me on, I guess, everywhere. Danielle King, Sage Council, my Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. If we're supposed to meet, we're going to meet.
All right. Well, it has been a pleasure interviewing you, and I thank you for your time and sitting down with me because I know you are busy. So thank you again, and I really enjoyed this. See you guys later.
Bye.